Each time we face our fear, we gain strength, courage, and confidence in the doing. Theodore Roosevelt. Fear, after all, is not the enemy of humanity. It is like a dark mirror placed before the mind. When we stand before it, we see our smallness, our doubts, and the limits we have unconsciously built. But the very moment we decide to take one more step forward, even if our legs are still trembling, even if our heart is pounding, is when a silent transformation occurs within our soul. If we turn away, it will grow into a giant shadow, weighing down every decision. But if we step through it, that shadow suddenly shrinks, and we realize that the most frightening thing is not the external challenge, but our own imagination. Each time we overcome a small fear, the mind is like a muscle being trained. At first, it trembles, but through each stretch and release, it becomes stronger, more flexible. Human courage is not something innate, but born right in the heart of fear. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is action in the presence of fear. When we confront what makes us anxious, a difficult conversation, a new opportunity, or a major decision, we are quietly sending a message deep into our mind, I can. And each time that message is repeated through action, confidence begins to form, like layers of rock, gradually built up under the river of time. Fear is not a wall blocking the path, but a door. It stands there to ask us a simple question. Do you want to step back, or do you want to grow? Those who dare to step through that door will discover something miraculous. On the other side is not a world without fear, but a new person, more steadfast, more open, and believing in their own abilities more than ever before. We should not pray to be sheltered from dangers, but to be fearless in facing them. Rabindranath Tagore. Our natural instinct always seeks safety, like a small bird wanting to hide under the leaves when the sky storms. We often wish for life to be calm, for the paths ahead to be without pebbles, for fate to be gentler with us. But life has never been designed that way. It is like a vast ocean, some days calm, but others stormy. The wise prayer is not to ask for the sea to always be peaceful, but for our heart to be strong enough to steer the boat. When we only pray for protection, we unwittingly admit our weakness before the world. But when we pray for courage, we are nurturing an inner strength, the light that can guide us even in the darkest night. Courage is not a gift dropped from the outside. It is like a flame ignited from deep within each person's soul. And paradoxically, it is the challenges, dangers, and uncertainties that fan that flame into brilliance. People mature not when they avoid all risks, but when they learn to stand firm before them. Someone who has never gone through a storm will hardly understand the strength of their own wings. But once they have flown through the dark clouds, they realize that fear is only a temporary mist. Beyond it, there is always an open sky. The most beautiful prayer is not, "Please make my path easy," but, "Please make my heart strong." For when the heart is courageous enough, danger is no longer a fearsome enemy, but becomes a silent teacher, showing us how to grow, how to believe in ourselves, and how to walk through life with a calm gaze, but full of inner power. Every society honors its living conformists and its dead troublemakers. Mignon McLaughlin. When a person is alive, society expects them to operate smoothly like a cog in a large machine, on time, up to standard, in their role. Those who conform provide a sense of security. They are like straight roads drawn on a map, easy to travel, predictable, controllable. Therefore, they are respected while existing in the community. But troublemakers are different. When alive, they are like a strong wind blowing into a closed room, scattering neatly stacked papers. They ask questions, challenge rules, expose cracks in the wall of order. This makes society uncomfortable, even fearful, because change always strips away the sense of stability. So, while they are present, those who break the mold are often seen as nuisances, rebels, or dangers. But when they have left this world, something strange happens. Society begins to retell their stories as legends. When the threat is gone, rebellion becomes inspiration. Actions once criticized are now seen as bravery. Questions once viewed as chaos are now praised as the light of thought. People suddenly realize that it was those troublemakers who opened new paths, like the one who dares enter the dense forest, after which the whole group can follow the trail blazed. This is not society's hypocrisy, but a natural psychological mechanism. People need order to live, but also need rebellion to evolve. One hand holds the fence, the other secretly opens the gate. Therefore, in the big picture of history, both types have roles. The conformists keep the house standing, while the troublemakers are the ones who open the windows to let in new light. We should be less hasty in judgment, for sometimes the person making society uncomfortable today is the one history will call tomorrow pioneer. And deep in human psychology, we both fear them and are grateful for them. Time is what prevents everything from happening at once. Ray Cummings, one of the most silent but kindest laws of the universe. Just imagine if all joys, all pains, all meetings, all losses, all dreams, and all failures came at once. The human mind would be like a room with all doors flung open at once. Light, wind, dust, and noise flooding in chaotically. No one could bear the weight of an entire life compressed into one moment. Time is like a patient librarian of life. It doesn't hand us the whole book at once, but turns the pages one by one. Each day is just a small line in the long epic of existence. Thanks to that, people have the chance to feel, reflect, and grow. Joy is savored fully because it has space to spread. Sorrow becomes bearable because it comes and goes, like rain rather than an endless flood. Time is also the silent sculptor of the soul. It breaks challenges into parts we can carry. A failure today is not the whole life, just a moment in the vast flow. A dream unfulfilled today still has room to grow tomorrow. If all outcomes happened instantly, people would have no chance to learn, hope, or be patient. Time is not just the ticking of the clock. It is the delicate structure that makes life livable. It is like the breath of the universe. Inhale, exhale, one breath at a time. Thanks to time, we can love one person at a time, learn one lesson at a time, and take one small step on the long journey of our lives. And in those slow steps, people gradually discover something gentle. Life doesn't need to happen all at once to be complete. It just needs to happen at the right time. We treat our future selves as though they were our children, spending most of the hours of most of our days constructing tomorrows that we hope will make them happy. Daniel Gilbert, one of the strangest but most beautiful acts of consciousness. We live in the present, but our minds often turn to a future version of ourselves, a future child, waiting to be nurtured. Each decision today, each hour of work, each effort to learn or endure patiently is like bricks we quietly lay to build a house for the person we will become. The present self is like a diligent gardener. He sows seeds into the soil, even though he knows the flowers will bloom at a time he cannot yet touch. Each small action, saving some money, learning a new skill, taking care of health, forging discipline, is like seeds sent into the soil of time. That gardener believes that on the other side of many days and months, there will be a person standing there, picking the sweet fruits he has patiently cultivated. The interesting thing is that in that process, we often sacrifice a lot of immediate joy. We stay up late working. We refuse easy temptations. We accept difficult periods only because we believe tomorrow will be more open. Psychologically, that is a manifestation of a special kind of love. Love for our own non-existent version yet. We care for them, worry for them, and sometimes even dream about the life they will have, just like a father or mother imagines the future of their child. But in that picture, there is also a gentle reminder. If we only live for the future child and forget the person breathing in the present, the garden of life will lose the fragrance of today. Wisdom lies in both sowing for tomorrow and knowing to pause to feel the sunshine of today. For when the future finally becomes the present, what makes people happy is not just the achievements, but also the memory of a journey lived fully, where each day is a loving care for oneself. There is no lesson more valuable than adversity. Benjamin Disraeli. It is precisely when life becomes harshest that the soul is forged strongest. When everything is favorable, people easily fall asleep in comfort, like a boat lying still in the harbor, safe, but never learning to ride the waves. Only when strong winds rise, only when the boat must set sail amid turbulent seas, does the sailor truly understand the strength of his hands and the resilience of the ship. Adversity acts as a silent forge of life. It heats up our inner limits, exposing weaknesses we had never seen before. Failure makes us think more deeply. Loss makes us understand the value of things once taken for granted. Pressure forces the mind to be creative, forces the heart to be resilient. Just as diamonds are formed under immense pressure in the earth, a strong character in humans is often born from the most difficult periods. Adversity also has a special gift. It makes people understand themselves. When all doors seem closed, we begin to listen to the inner voice more clearly. We realize what we truly value, what we fear, and how far we can go. Those questions rarely appear on calm days, but erupt strongly when life challenges us. Adversity is not just an obstacle. It is a strict but fair teacher. That teacher doesn't lecture with words, but with experience. Each difficulty is like a thick page in a book, sometimes hard to read, but containing the deepest knowledge. And when people pass through those chapters, they often look back at life with a different gaze, calmer, more mature, and more grateful. For they understand that it was the storms that taught them how to become steady helmsmen on the ocean of life. You have to expect things of yourself before you can do them. Michael Jordan. Every external achievement begins with an inner belief. Before a building rises into the sky, it must first exist in the architect's blueprint. Before a journey begins, it must be envisioned in the traveler's mind. And likewise, before people reach any achievement, they must allow themselves to believe they can reach it. Expecting things of oneself is not arrogance, but a form of spiritual energy. When a person believes in their ability, the mind begins to operate differently. It seeks opportunities instead of avoiding challenges. It persists one more step when facing difficulty, instead of stopping at the boundary of doubt. That belief is like a lamp in the dark night. The path ahead may not be clear, but that small light is enough to keep us moving step by step. Conversely, if people do not expect things of themselves, they often build invisible walls. They give up opportunities before trying. They stop before starting. Many dreams die not because they are too big, but because the one carrying them doesn't believe they deserve them. That is a sad paradox. The greatest limit of humans often lies not in circumstances, but in how they perceive themselves. But when a person dares to believe in their own ability, a silent movement begins. They learn more, effort more, and persist longer. That belief is like a seed sown into the soil of action. At first, it is just a fragile sprout, but over time, with the care of discipline and experience, it can grow into a sturdy tree. Expecting things of oneself is not an optimistic illusion. It is the starting point of all growth. For before the world sees our potential, we must be the first to see it. And the moment we start believing in ourselves, the door to what seemed impossible begins to open. greater our faith, the greater our capacity. William Hazlitt. A person's true capacity rarely lies only in intelligence or skills, but also in how they perceive their own abilities. Faith is like an invisible frame shaping every action. When that frame is wide open, people dare to try, dare to learn, dare to step beyond seemingly impossible limits. But when that frame is narrow, even the greatest potential is imprisoned within walls of doubt. The human mind is like a garden. Faith is the sunlight shining on each seed of capacity lying in the soil. If that sunlight is weak, the seed will hesitate, grow slowly, even wither before it can rise. But when faith is strong, it is like abundant light, making the trees in that garden grow stronger, roots deeper, branches farther. The miracle is that most of us carry more seeds of capacity than we imagine. But only those nurtured by faith have the chance to become great trees. Faith also acts as a silent engine. When a person believes they can do something, they persist longer in failure, are more creative in deadlock, and braver in facing challenges. It is that persistence and bravery that gradually turn faith into real capacity. Conversely, if people do not believe in themselves, they often give up before their inner strength can be awakened. Capacity is not always the starting point. Often, it is the result of faith. Faith is like the sail of the boat of life. The wind of opportunity may blow everywhere, but only boats with large sails can go far. And when faith in the human mind expands, their capacity also gradually expands, like the horizon always receding as we continue to step forward. Sooner or later, those who win are those who think they can. Paul Tournier. Victory rarely begins on the arena. It begins in the mind. Before feet run farther, before hands create great things, the thought of the possibility of victory must sprout in the heart. That belief is like a small flame ignited in the dark night. At first, its light is faint, but it is that light that gives us reason to continue when the path is still obscure. In life, many people fail, not because they lack ability, but because they do not believe they can reach the end of the road. When the mind is covered by doubt, each difficulty becomes larger, each mistake like a full stop. But when a person believes victory is possible, they view challenges with a different gaze. Failure is no longer the end, but just a bend in the journey. They get up faster, try again more, and persist longer. It is that endurance that quietly accumulates into real strength. Belief in victory acts as the compass of the soul. It doesn't erase storms on the ocean, but helps the boat know where to head. The person carrying that belief is like a mountaineer seeing the peak from afar. The path may be steep, the rocks may hurt the feet, but the image of the peak is always there, pulling them step by step. Victory is not just the result of talent or luck. It is the result of a mental state, the state of someone who never stops believing they can take one more step. And over time, that steadfast belief will turn what once existed only in thought into vivid reality. For in the long flow of life, those who go farthest are often those who dared to believe in their victory, even when it was not yet visible. Skill and confidence is an unconquered army. George Herbert. Skill is the sharp sword forged over time through hours of learning, practice, mistakes, and persistence. But that sword, no matter how sharp, can lie still in its sheath if the one holding it lacks confidence. Conversely, confidence is like the fire in the heart, urging people to step onto the battlefield of life. But if that fire is not accompanied by skill, it easily becomes blind recklessness. When skill and confidence combine, they are like the two wings of an eagle. One wing gives it strength, the other gives it courage to fly high. The skilled person knows what to do. The confident person believes they can do it. When the two become one, people no longer face challenges with hesitation, but enter them with calm and initiative. Skill provides a solid foundation. Confidence provides the motivation to act. Skill helps us understand our limits and abilities. Confidence helps us not be paralyzed by fear. A skilled person without confidence is like a fully equipped warrior, afraid to step into battle. Conversely, a confident person without skill is like one rushing into the battlefield without weapons. Only when both exist is the person truly strong. Life is like a vast battlefield where each person must face countless challenges, work, dreams, failures, and even their own doubts. In that journey, skills are the well-trained soldiers. Confidence is the general leading the army. When that army advances, they are not those who never fail, but those who always have the ability to stand up, learn, and move forward. And it is the combination of trained ability and self-belief that creates a force that few challenges in life can defeat.